Hey everyone, my name is Christoph Jakob. I'm a music composer for video games. When Fresh Season 2024 was announced in Splatoon 3, one of the additions was a brand new band called Riot Act that came with 2 new songs, Shifting Stars and No Plan Survives. Some of you have probably waited for me to make a video on at least one of those tunes, but it simply never happened. When this band was initially announced, I thought their music was pretty good. Nothing too special, but quite nice to listen to. As you may have seen in one of my most recent streams, where I made a tier list of all the different multiplayer tunes in Splatoon 3, I actually put Shifting Stars into X rank, so the highest tier. This tune has grown on me so much actually, and today I'd like to share with you what I think makes this tune a certified and really interesting banger. Let's go. We're jumping right in. What an unusual intro. When Riot Act was initially announced, a bunch of friends and also random viewers reached out to me to tell me that their music reminds them a lot of something that I would write myself. The way Shifting Stars is structured, the sound of the electric guitars and also the vocals reminded them of my first Splatoon-inspired album Splash. I would argue that Riot Act has a musical approach that's quite a bit more heavy than the stuff I wrote though. The tone of the electric guitars screams Chunsenoi to me. Take away the Splatoonified vocals and this could honestly almost fit into one of the old 3D Sonic games. Speaking of the vocals, when I heard Shifting Stars for the first time, I actually thought that this was some sort of collaboration between a new band and Off the Hook. For some reason the vocals just sounded so familiar to me. Might have to do with the fact that the vocal approach is not particularly innovative for Splatoon standards. Off the Hook have a very similar vocal approach. So do bands like Wet Floor, for example. While the chords might not seem that special at first, the vocal melody definitely is. We're starting on a G power chord. And the melody tells us that we're in G minor because it starts on the minor third. One thing that's really surprising are the other notes that the melody is playing through the entire intro section. The progression starts like this. If we add the melody, however, it suddenly starts to sound way less simple and straightforward. And instead of simply looping this chord progression, that's kinda what we expect at this point. The composers throw a super surprising chord into the mix. We once again start on a G, but this time it seems to be a G major chord. That's at least what the melody is clearly implying. And instead of moving to B flat again, we're actually moving to B, or it sounds more like a G with B in the bass to me. This gives the tune a very surprising positive lift. The entire intro sounds something like this. At first, you might not even like the tune that much, but there are times when that is simply because you're not used to what's going on. Out of all the multiplayer tracks in the entire franchise, this has to be one of the most unusual intro sections. One of the greatest things a composer can do is set up expectations in the listeners, making it fairly easy to follow along to the music, but then suddenly averting them. Shifting Stars is simply fantastic in that regard. What an unusual intro. Okay, that was an unusual chord too. And it's also rhythmically very unusual. Okay, what's going on here? I really like the lead electric guitar that's being introduced. especially since it doesn't really work at all, and that's exactly what makes it work. Unlike the intro, we're not starting with a G minor or a G major chord this time. Instead, we're on E flat major. Similarly to the intro though, the little motif that the electric guitars are playing are focusing on the 6th and the 9th, two very colorful and unusual notes to focus your melody on. The chords are moving back and forth between an E flat major chord, or it's more like an E flat 6/9, and a D minor 7 chord. This is a little bit odd, but it still works. However, the second time we don't actually move from an E flat 6/9 chord to a D minor 7, but instead we move to whatever this is. What I find hilarious about this whatever that is chord is that every single note in the melody belongs like it doesn't belong there. You could say that regarding music conventions, this is truly an act of riot. Get it? Because the band is called Riot Act, and it's a pun on it's. Then why does it still sound decent in context though? I sadly do not have a satisfying answer to that. Sometimes what appears to be completely wrong and out of place might just be exactly the right thing. Well, not like that, of course. Just listen to what the guitar is playing before it moves on to the next section. I honestly don't think there's any logic or reasoning behind that, other than it sounds good, thus it works. You can't deny that this sounds interesting. And it's also rhythmically very unusual. I really like the sound of the electric guitars though. I also love how hectic it sounds. Not only does Shifting Stars catch us off guard harmonically, but it also has a couple of unexpected rhythmic elements. Just listen to how it transitions from the previous section to this new one. It's not that easy to follow along in my opinion. I'm going to try and count along to how I personally perceive the rhythm. If for some reason you perceive it differently, please let me know down in the comments below. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Another element that really helps propel the tune forward is that it rarely ever lands on the 1. The 1 is the most stable beat you could possibly land on. Yet we almost never land there. Instead, the music almost always emphasizes the 4 and. As a result, the music feels rushed and hectic, also a little unstable in a way. It shouldn't come as a surprise that a lot of Sonic tunes also don't really land on the 1 that often. Another awesome effect that this constant emphasis on offbeats has is that the moment it finally does land on the 1, it feels all the more satisfying. This is exactly what happens at the end of this section, so that the upcoming climax section hits even more. Damn, and this part reminds me a lot of Clickbait actually. The entire structure, the amount of energy, this could work as a main theme, not gonna lie. Very unusual, but really, really good. The climax section is basically like a glorified intro of sorts. Exact same chord progressions, just rhythmically more interesting and more intense. Your ears just never really have a moment to rest, and I think that's actually what makes this band so great. Thanks for watching. Like this video and subscribe to the channel if you have not already. It is also possible for you to become channel member now. Benefits include custom emojis, custom badges, early access to videos, a special role in my Discord server and more. Link to that in the description below. I do want to point out that if you decide not to become a channel member, that nothing changes for you. And finally, here you can find some of my own Splatoon inspired music and remixes. Thank you so much, and I'll see you all next time.